The Army is changing the way it trains soldiers to operate unmanned aircraft after an inquiry into a crash in Afghanistan warned of serious risks. The Hermes drone came down in Camp Bastion last October when an engine overheated. 11 of the aircraft have crashed in Afghanistan in the last 5 years. But a Defence Minister says changes have already been made, with more improvements on the way. James Hurst reports.
It is a vital source of intelligence for British forces on the ground in Afghanistan. And the Military Aviation Authority inquiry says the deployment of the Army's Hermes 450 UAVs has been an outstanding success. But it also warns significant risks have been accepted in the process. Risks that may have contributed to this crash in October last year. The drone was brought back to Camp Bastion after suffering an overheated engine. A manual landing was ruled out because of an obstructed runway. An automatic landing then aborted because of incorrectly loaded data. The engine failed and the aircraft hit an empty hangar before breaking up on the tarmac. In total, the report makes 68 recommendations. Although engine failure was the main cause of the accident, most of the recommendations are about people rather than equipment, including a call for the redesign of a key Royal School of Artillery course for soldiers working with drones. The Ministry of Defence is stressing that Hermes is an unarmed aircraft used only for surveillance, and the concerns raised in this inquiry don't relate to the RAF's operation of drones like Reaper, which carry missiles. They point out there has been no repeat of this incident, but figures released in Parliament a few weeks ago show that 11 Hermes unmanned aircraft have crashed in Afghanistan since 2007. The Armed Forces Minister Andrew Robertson said a review of the Army's training for UAVs had just been completed, with several changes already made and more improvements to come. On the inquiry into this crash, the Army has accepted all the recommendations and the RAF is now helping it to put them into practice. James Hurst, Forces News.
Well, the use of drones has been debated at Westminster this afternoon, with MPs from both sides of the House setting out their views on the ethics behind their use and their future. Victoria Smith's been watching.
The debate in Westminster Hall was brought by Labour MP for Birmingham and Edgbaston, Gisela Stewart. In the light of public concern over the British use of unmanned aerial vehicles, we deploy 5 different types, she demanded clarity from both sides of the House on their effectiveness. Following reports of drones causing the deaths of 3,225 civilians in Pakistan, the question of collateral damage was a big one. Conservative MP for North Wiltshire, James Gray, a former member of the Honourable Artillery Company, argued the use of drones actually saves lives.
You can, by using these things, spot a particular person from a very great height. You can spot a particular person, you can track his movements, you know precisely who he is, and you can actually kill him very precisely, very technically, and minimising damage to civilians who may be nearby. That stands in sharp contrast to the use of artillery, for example, which takes out a grid square.
He also introduced us to a new term for UAVs, RPAS. No, not a reference to actors in vampire movies, but an abbreviation for remotely piloted aircraft systems. Shadow Minister for the Armed Forces, Kevin Jones, said the opposition supports the use of RPAS in principle.
We support unmanned technology as an important element of military capability, which complements the manned aerial capability which we have got. But there is a desire, I think, to ensure that where they are used, they're used within the right context.
The use of RPAS at sea during counter-piracy operations, for example, was also discussed, as was the psychological effect on drone operators working from Nevada at such a remote distance from their targets. Victoria Smith, Forces News.